Hello, everyone. My guest today is Mike Donnelly. He's the CEO and founder of Seventh Sense, which is a system that optimizes the timing and frequency of email for sales and marketing professionals. The idea was conceived during Mike's 13-year career as an individual contributor and sales leader for emerging enterprise technology companies. Mike, are you ready to take us to the top?
I am, and appreciate having me on, Nathan.
You bet. So Seventh Sense, it's email, it's timing. What inputs are you feeding kind of this algorithm to make sure it's smart?
Yeah, so we have strategic partnerships with both HubSpot and Marketo. And so we take data feeds from both of those, open data, click data, is it happening on a mobile device, happening on a desktop? And then we also have an integration with Google, so we can also listen in on corporate email systems. And those are kind of the inputs that feed our system.
Okay, and what do you have to pay someone like a HubSpot for access or Google for access to those data streams?
Nothing.
Okay,
so
why do they do
customers, it's added value for them. HubSpot, Marketo, et cetera, are looking to build out their ecosystem. So that's where our relationship comes in. And then Google, all the user has to do is authorize access to their Google accounts.
Well, what do you give back to like a HubSpot that makes it, HubSpot more valuable for their users? Because it's sensitive, obviously, to give you this kind of data.
So it's actually the customer. So the customer gives us access to their data. And so the customer comes to us, pays us, signs up for our service, and then we analyze their data and then provide value to them. We don't give anything to HubSpot or Marketo or Google.
I thought you just said you have a data relationship with HubSpot and HubSpot feeds you data.
So we do. HubSpot doesn't feed us all of their data, like across all of their customers. If their customer decides to opt into our service, then that's the data feed that we get from HubSpot.
Oh, I see.
That customer's data.
You're like an app in their app exchange or something.
Exactly.
Got it. Okay. So, and then how do you make money? Is it a pure play SaaS model?
It is a pure play SaaS model. That's correct.
Okay. And on average, what are these folks paying you per month for the service?
So our ARPUs are around $220 a month. We've got 136 customers today. So around 30K in monthly recurring revenue.
Yep. 225. So are these, maybe it's small business, maybe it starts pushing mid-market, but who are these? What are they usually? Small business or mid-market?
So I would say probably 60% of our customers are SMBs, and then 40% of them are more larger scale. I wouldn't say total enterprise. We do have one very large enterprise company. This past year, they did about $4.4 billion in annual revenue.
Do they make up more than 50% of your revenue?
They do not.
Okay, got it. So you're able to, you don't have a huge risk.
They make up about 10% of our revenue.
Okay, got it. And what's the company growing at? So you're at 30,000 per month, 136 customers paying $225 per month. Where were we at 13 months ago?
So 13 months ago, we were around 10K in MRR.
So healthy, small numbers, but still healthy growth.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, really
and
healthy
it's a small team. We're a bootstrap company, self-funded.
Totally bootstrap. No rich uncles writing $1 million check.
So we did do a small, I shouldn't say small, but we did a friends and family round, but I've invested a pretty significant chunk of change over the past few years.
And what was the small round? Are we talking sub 400 grand?
Yes.
Okay, got it. And then you've put in your own money. What's the team size at today?
So it's 3 full-time.
Okay. 3 full-time folks. Everyone based in Arlington?
We're spread. We've got one in California, one in Ashburn, and then myself in Arlington, but we do have a local office in Reston.
Okay, got it. So some Loudoun County action going on, which I like, my hometown. And when did you launch the company? What year?
So we launched the company in 2013, but we were doing it as a nights and weekends project for the better part of almost 2 years. And that was really kind of a research and development phase. And then once we landed our first customer, we decided, hey, this is the time. It's adding value.
What year was that?
So that was 2015.
Okay. And then, so what have you done? There's I guess there's enough MRR to cover 3 full-time salaries, but where did you get money from in order to invest in this new thing? What gave you the confidence to take the risk?
So where we got the money from was I was a very successful enterprise sales rep. I also was part of a few IPOs, a few exits. And so made money there. And that's really what I've been, where the funding came from. Where I was willing to take the risk is, just believing in the value that it's delivering to customers. And I still see there's just a huge market opportunity with where we want to go with the technology.
And then, so you're at 136 customers now. Let's say a bunch sign up from this show. So you have 137. What actually happens right when I sign up and start paying you?
So what happens is you sign up process takes about 5 minutes. You connect up to your marketing automation system, whether that be HubSpot or Marketo, which literally takes about a minute. And then we start analyzing all of the historical data that you have within your marketing automation system or in your corporate email system. We then go through an analysis phase, depending on, total number of email addresses that you have, anywhere from, I think our smallest customer probably has 2,000 email addresses. Our largest has around 10 million email addresses. So depending on that, it can take anywhere from 24 to 48 hours to complete that initial analysis.
But again, so keep going down that storyline. What do I get when the analysis is done? What value?
So once the analysis is done, rather than say you're using a marketing platform, blasting out an email to 10,000, 100,000, 500,000 of your closest friends at 10 a.m. on Tuesday, what happens is we empower you to automate personalizing the send time to each individual contact when they are more likely to engage in that email.
At scale, though, right? I don't have to go in and type in a new time for every person manually, right?
No. It's all automated. It's at massive scale. We have plenty of customers that do mailing sizes of between 1 million to 2 million contacts for a single mailing.
And they say, send this, pick a send time for this,
pick a delivery window. Anything as short as an hour, although if you're going to do that, you might as well blast it out, all the way to 7 days and anything in between.
Interesting.
The other component that we look at on the marketing automation side is, are you heating up? Are you cooling down as far as your level of engagement with us? Because send time takes you so far, but then you really want to start thinking about the frequency at which I'm mailing Sarah, because Sarah might want to engage in every email that you send, whereas Scott, you would be much better well served sending him an email once a month. So we've got a machine learning system in the background that's looking at what is your pattern of engagement this week versus last month versus last year. And then we determine at what level of engagement are you sitting within. So that's what we do on the marketing side. On the sales side, what we deliver to the sales rep is there's all kinds of send later functionality within Gmail. There's Boomerang, Tout App, Yesware, HubSpot Sales Pro. I know you have one. But the fundamental piece missing is you're still kind of, pardon the French, pissing in the wind as far as what time you should send that email. We give you concrete insight into when you should be sending that email to that specific individual.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Why aren't more people using this?
Frankly, we have been really bad at marketing.
But you're the top sales guy.
Yeah, but sales and marketing at a SaaS startup doing 220 average revenue per customer per month is totally different than.
Why do you like a guy like you with your background? If you were a top enterprise rep, I mean, I would have built this. I would keep the product exactly the same, but I would increase the price 10 times, and I'd have you go do what you were really good at, which is selling $20,000 a month annual contracts.
So we have continued to move our way upstream, but selling to an enterprise is totally different than selling to an SMB or even a small mid-sized enterprise. And part of those challenges are, hey, I've got to have a SOC 2 compliant. I've got to be SOC 2 compliant because I do have access to the crown jewels of a company. Mm. It's their email list. It's their customer data.
Just be clear, though, this isn't like a MailChimp email list. This is like you're in their Gmail and you just look at who they've emailed in the past 12 months.
That we look at the entire history of that Gmail account or that entire history of the marketing automation side.
Okay. So, I mean, I guess if someone's managing a list in Marketo or HubSpot, you'll see that list. There is I should think of this like I'm making this up. J. Crew has a list of 1 million dudes. They have a new hat they want to sell, and you're going to tell them, hey, send it over this week, but we will tell you when to send it to each person based off how active they are in their inbox at certain times on certain days.
Exactly.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I guess the question I would have for you is your input is 136 customers. That's not a large enough sample size to train your machine to be smarter than someone with 100,000 users. So how do you know your send times are actually good send times?
So there's a couple things. One, some of our customers are quite large, and they'll have upwards of 500 million to 1 billion events in a single, marketing system, or in their instance of Marketo or HubSpot. So for them, that sample size is large enough. Where we have really proven our value is we've done a tremendous amount of A/B testing with customers. Send your way, your normal way, send at 10 a.m. on Tuesday, whatever you think is the best time, and then to half, and then send our way half, and then we compare and contrast the results.
And what do those typically look like?
So open rates on average anywhere from 8 to 13%. Some customers that have tremendous data sets, we've seen far larger, upwards in the 40%.
That's the gains
range.
Or that's the total open rate?
That's the gains.
Okay.
And then where the system has the biggest impact is click rates and conversions, where we on average see anywhere from an 18 to 24% average increase in click rates. And the reason for that is you're connecting with somebody at an optimal, at a much better time for them.
Yeah.
We've also seen, based on some studies that we've done as far as like web bounces, et cetera, coming like somebody gets an email, they go to your website. We've actually seen bounce rates drop in an order of 30 to 40%, because again, they're willing to spend more time on your website because you've connected with them at a more optimal time.
I mean, if those numbers are accurate, I just think your price is it's so low. If someone has a 100,000 person list and you're increasing opens by 20%, click-throughs by 20%, and conversions by X%, they're getting, call it $30,000 more in terms of sales per email send. They're paying you $200. It seems
we do skew it. I'm saying that's the average revenue per customer. Our smallest subscription starts at $100 a month, and then our largest today is $3,000 a month. And then, so if you've got a list of 100,000 people, that's $600 a month. I don't necessarily disagree with you that it's a lower price point, but we're also just trying to bring this thing to market. Not just bring it to market, but get a larger customer base, and then as we add more, increase the price.
Interesting. Walk me through some economic stuff right now. So CAC, what's it costing you to acquire these customers?
So good question. I don't have super strong numbers on that because I'm the one doing primarily the sales, but I probably spend 50% of my time on sales, 50% on, marketing, podcasts, things like this, et cetera. So on a per customer basis, because we're close to break even or profitability, I don't know, a couple $100 probably per customer.
Okay, so maybe call it 300, and they're paying you $200 a month on average, so you get paid back in under 2 months.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, that sounds generally fair. And then tell me about churn.
So churn, I think the last customer we had churn was maybe 5 months ago. So I can't say that we have a super strong metric around like lifetime value yet, just because we haven't been in the market that long. But we really don't. Where we churn is somebody made a decision to go to 7 cents, and then they leave the company. And so therefore we lost contact with with that company. And what's interesting is we have seen probably 60% of our churn has actually signed back up with us when they go to a different company.
Yeah, so it drives additional growth. Okay, but my point is you're not doing any direct paid stuff yet because you don't yet know what your CAC is. Like you don't have a sample size large enough to actually know where. Exactly. Yeah. Right. Interesting. Yeah. Cool. Good. Well, Mike, let's wrap up here with the famous 5. Number 1, what's the last business book that you read?
So last business book I read was No Shortcuts to the Top by Ed Visters.
Number 2, is there a CEO that you really love, coffee, dinner with, lunch with there at Arlington?
So Craig Abod, who is the CEO of Carasoft.
Carasoft?
Yeah, they're one of the largest companies in the world that nobody knows about.
Interesting. Number 3.
Multi-billion-dollar company.
Number 3, what's your favorite online tool for building a business?
HubSpot.
By the way, if Brian Halligan comes to you and says, hey, what are you doing? You're doing 360 right now per year. We'll offer you $1 million for the company. Do you sell, take a quick win and move on?
Absolutely not.
Hold out. All right. Number 4, how many hours of sleep do you get every night?
On average, probably 5 to 6.
Okay. And what's your situation? Married, single, you have kids?
Married, 2 kids.
Okay. And how old are you?
I just turned 40.
Awesome. All right, Mike, last question. What do you wish your 20-year-old self knew?
Start a business earlier.
There you guys have it from Mike. Start a business earlier. Although it sounds like he had a lot of success as an enterprise sales rep, building up a nice little nest egg. He then said, you know what? I want my nest egg to become a little bit more risky. I'm going to throw some of that money in 2015 at, again, the new company, 7th Sense, which is helping folks understand better times to send their emails to increase open, click-through, and conversion rates. He scaled it to about 10 grand per month in December 2016, grew well over 3x year over year, now doing over 30 grand per month across about 36 customers, paying $225 a month. Too early to get too deep on unit economic stuff, but his team of 3 in Northern Virginia growing the company quickly. Mike, thank you for taking us to the top.
Absolutely. Thanks again for having me on.